Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hello. Hey, guys. My name's Connor. If you're new, original link to the video, top of the description. Matt Men. Jay and Mark. I used to saying Matt Men. Preemptive, like, this country is 17% fake. Let's go. I like to watch things with you guys and learn occasionally with you. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's get started. Let's go.
There's a saying in Dutch, God schept de aarde, maar de Nederlanders... There's a saying in Dutch, God schept de aarde, maar de Nederlanders schept de Nederland. Another saying in Dutch is, wij smachten naar 88 prachtige nachten bij 88 prachtige grachten. Today's program is about how the Netherlands picked a fight with the sea and won. Welkom bij Kaartmannen. Wij zijn de mannen en hier is de kaart. Kaartmannen, 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 mannen. If you spend an afternoon browsing Holland, the Netherlands on satellite view, you'll notice something a little odd. This bit looks pretty normal and European. Lots of green, lots of zigzaggy roads, lots of narrow fields at wonky angles. But as soon as you cross this road, the countryside suddenly turns unusually light brown, with unusually rigid, perfect rectangles and houses spaced out with uncanny, soulless regularity. Curiosity piqued, you turn the clock back to 1945, and it's go-go-go-go.
Don't they do this because... Like, so you cycle, you plant, you fertilize, and then you plant here, and then you reap your harvests, and then you plant here, and then you fertilize, and then plant and repeat.
Curiosity piqued, you turn the clock back to 1945, and it's gone. Curiosity piqued further, you compare a map of present-day Netherlands to one from 1300, and notice that a whopping 7,000 square kilometers of land, roughly 17% of the whole country, has been conjured out of thin water. What would you like to know first, how or why? Why? Because I thought it was polite to ask. Why? Here's why.
Thousands of years ago, when settlers came to these low or nether lands, they found fertile soil, plentiful fish stocks, and abundant water resources.
But there was a catch. The lowness of the land meant that the coastline kept changing. One year the coastline was here, the next year it was here, and the year after that it was here. This level of unpredictability of wetness was no way to live. And so, to keep their feet dry, the Dutch took action. They invented clogs? No. First, they built dikes. Dikes are big walls to stop water going where it oughtn't. If you put them next to wet things like rivers and lakes, you can stay dry on the other side of them. Next, they built windmills. If you put an Archimedes screw in the water and connect it to a windmill, when the blades turn, the screw scoops the water out, turning it into useful dry land for growing plants and cows. These patches of X-water were called polders. The Dutch put hundreds of little polders everywhere and became the nation that was best at land reclamation in the world. Whilst the thousands of, just over 1,000, windmills across the landscape were very pretty and became Dutch icons like bikes, Edam, tulips, stroopwafels, sensible urban planning, sex shows, chocolate sprinkles and Deal or No Deal, they were not enough, and the sea fought back. The problem was specifically this.
Is the American Deal or No Deal a Dutch knockoff?
The Zuiderzee was an inlet of the North Sea, taking a roughly 2,000 square mile scoop out of the north of the Netherlands, though its size did vary due to tides and storms. Why are we talking about a sea in the past tense? You'll see. Ooh.
Everything about the Zuiderzee made it the worst possible sea to live next door to if you didn't like being flooded.
The Zuiderzee broke through the dikes and flooded people's homes practically every 5 minutes, and there was no windmill in the world, not even one that span really, really fast, that could stop it. But there was a man who thought he could. Cornelis Lely was a student of civil engineering at the Polytechnic School of Delft, who absolutely hated the sea. And this is a picture of the sea. His dream was to get rid of the sea once and for all. And it turned out he wasn't alone. Various visionaries had all come up with variations of the same idea, to build an enormous dam across the Zuiderzee and turn it into a harmless lake full of polders, dramatically shortening the nation's coastline.
So what's the difference between, is a dike a type of dam? Also shows you how problems breed inventions. If we never had any problems, we'd never invent anything. Well, maybe that's a stretch, but you know what I mean.
Of course, none of them ever came to a lake full of polders, dramatically shortening the nation's coastline. Of course, none of them ever came close to being built. They were little more than fantastically unrealistic concept art.
But Cornelis, with his engineering expertise, realised that with modern 19th century technology and building materials, this dream dam was actually technically possible.
Cornelis Lely got to work on a plan that was full of real-world detail, like hydrological data to calculate the best possible position for the dam, a sluicing system to let the fresh water out from the rivers, a list of the construction materials, and, perhaps cleverest of all, a survey of seabed sediment, so the new polders would be located where the soil would be as profitable as possible.
To make his unhinged dream to delete the sea become a reality, Cornelis went...
And guys, if the pausing's annoying, I'm reacting. So I can't believe I have to say this a lot. So original link, top description. If you want to watch on your own, I'm going to have a lot of questions here. Or just, this is interesting.
A survey of seabed.
So, in such a small sea, the sediment in that sea had varied mineral content that's good for growing crops. And if you were to build on top of that, then wouldn't your crops have to reach down to the sediment to get the nutrients? Is that... Maybe that's a dumb question, but that's cool.
Sediment, so the new polders would be located where the soil would be as profitable as possible.
To make his unhinged dream to delete the sea become a reality, Cornelis went into politics and was soon appointed Minister for Transport and Water Management. He was now finally ready to submit his Zuiderzee Works master plan before Parliament.
But Parliament turned it down. Cornelis's dam was too damn expensive, and they worried that fishermen whose livelihoods depended on catching saltwater fish would lose their livelihoods.
No fish for sale here!
It seemed Cornelis's dream was dead in the water. Until...
Sponsor?
Love Sunday lunch. Conversations with the family. Not anymore. All because of Surfshark VPN, the sponsor of this video. It's available with one account on an unlimited number of devices. So the conversation's over. Look at June. She's watching content from a streaming service not available in the UK, and one of Surfshark's over 3,000 servers in over 100 countries. There's Monty, using Surfshark to encrypt his data to avoid age restrictions, so he can look at goodness knows what. And my wife, she's shopping for holidays using region-specific pricing with discounts that are only available abroad. Wish I'd never signed up to Surfshark by going to surfshark.com/mapmen and entering the code MAPMEN to get an extra 4 months for free.
Oh, stop going on about Surfshark. You blame it for all your problems. Can't find your socks? Surfshark hid them. Roast pork tastes disgusting. Surfshark cooked it. Accrington Stanley lost the match. Surfshark was playing. Surfshark, Surfshark, Surfshark. Morning, noon and night.
Love Sunday lunch. Conversation with the family.
Guys, make sure if you're interested in that, and especially in such a recent video that I'm reacting to, if you're interested in Surfshark and you learn about it here and you want to get it, make sure to use the promo codes and links. Original link top of the description. It's just the right thing to do, and you'll get the savings. So there you go.
Oh, sorry. It seemed Cornelis's dream was dead in the water. Until, in January 1916, the Netherlands saw their worst flood in hundreds of years.
The Dutch were used to floods, of course, but this one was particularly bad timing because of the First World War.
I thought the Netherlands were neutral for World War I.
Yes, but their neighbours absolutely weren't. Germany, Belgium, France and Britain were so busy fighting, they stopped all international trade, and that meant the Dutch had to rely entirely on the food from their own farms.
So the flood didn't just...
Again, problems make innovation. So war is a good thing.
destroy homes,
had to rely entirely on the food from their own farms.
so the flood didn't just destroy homes, it caused a massive food shortage both during and after the disaster. The Dutch were homeless, hungry and wet. In these conditions, Lely's plan didn't seem quite so unhinged after all.
And so, in 1927, 36 years after he first proposed it, Cornelis finally began work on the
Afsluitdijk.
The dike was completed ahead of schedule in 1932. At 20 miles long, or 32 kilometres if you insist, it was the longest dike the world had ever seen. The Zuiderzee was a zee no more. It was now a mere, the IJsselmeer.
And now that the water was calm and shallow, they were ready to build the biggest polders the world had ever seen.
Hey, I've driven over that. I don't know if I drove over that one, but things that look just like this. It was really cool. It looked much more modern, you know. Sorry.
The water was calm and shallow, they were ready to build the biggest polders the world had ever seen.
Hundreds of farmers moved in to start their new lives working the land straight away. But then something went wrong.
Because the polder was below sea level, it was lower than the mainland, causing groundwater to flow into it and sucking the former coastland dry. This made it much less fertile and much less productive.
So for the next one in 1950, they changed the design.
The
Raised
next
it?
polder was built in 2 stages with a thin, watery gap to make it much easier to manage the water table. This meant that the Flavor polder was technically the largest artificial island in the world, a record no one's come close to beating since.
So, overall, was Cornelis Lely's Zuiderzee Works project a success?
In every way imaginable, yes. When the next massive storm came in December 1953, the structure held back the sea and prevented what would have been catastrophic flooding. The Afsluitdijk paid for itself in one night.
And it's paid for itself 1,000 times more since. The value of the new polders to the Dutch economy is 20 million euros a year.
And as for food security, it went so much further than necessary. It gave the Netherlands a massive food surplus, quickly becoming the world's second largest food exporter behind only the United States.
Pretty impressive for the densest country in Europe.
5th densest country in
For a
Europe.
small
Densest
country.
proper country in Europe.
Lely's plan was so successful, it even solved other problems it wasn't meant to solve, including one for Dutch drivers. Right on top of the Afsluitdijk, engineers built a motorway in the middle of the sea, allowing drivers to whiz from Zuiderzee to Hippolytuzhoef in just 35 minutes. With
Hippolytuzhoef.
breathtaking views of the sea in a dead straight line, a cruise along the A7 motorway is simultaneously the most thrilling and most boring drive in the world.
The Zuiderzee Works also changed the lives of the people of Urk.
Urk, for most of its existence, was an island right in the middle of the Zuiderzee, isolated from the rest of the country. But now, thanks to the new polder, you could just drive there on the Urkeweg.
Although oddly, the Urkeweg hasn't stopped Urk from still behaving like an island. Even today, it's famous for being more conservative and religious than the rest of the Netherlands, and they still have their own dialect that most Dutch people don't understand.
Excuse me, do you have the time?
Of all the impacts of Lely's project,
How big are we talking here? What? Hold on, just so I don't dox myself here. I just gotta bring it up over here. Do a little of this and a little of that. Okay. I can. Okay. Oh God, it's gonna be difficult. Is this Urk or the? Not as far as I thought. Okay.
the biggest
Have the time?
of all the impacts of Lely's project, the biggest was one he could never have predicted. As the Dutch population exploded, but their borders didn't, the country was in desperate need of more space for people to live on. Suddenly, Flevoland, first intended as a giant flood barrier that could maybe house a few farms, became prime real estate.
Like Almere, which is by every measurement you can think of the Dutch Milton Keynes.
The population on these polders increased so much that in 1986, Flevoland was officially turned into the 12th province of the Netherlands, with its own local government, coat of arms, and flag terced in fest with 3 horizontal bands, a superior azure field, an inferior vert field, and a medial of reduced breadth, its waveform hoistwood half transitioning to a rectilinear flywood edge, with a stylized argent fleur-de-lis occupying the upper hoist quarter.
I like it.
So what did Cornelis Lely make of all of the Zuiderzee Works' phenomenal success?
Nothing. Cornelis Lely completely died in 1929, before even the Afsluitdijk was finished, meaning he never saw any of his plans come true and never had any.
He used to walk around with an umbrella on his head, but he can't do that anymore, and that's because he's dead. Nice, poetic.
before even the Afsluit Dike was finished, meaning he never saw any of his plans come true and never had any idea how much he'd transformed his whole country.
But he's fondly commemorated today by the people of the province he accidentally created. They named their capital city after him and turned him into a statue, where he stands on the Afsluit Dike to this day, staring out at the choppy waters of the North Sea.
The Dutch had proven themselves the masters of land reclamation, literally laying the groundwork and showing the rest of the world how it's done.
Which inspired the rest of the world to give land reclamation a go themselves, and for all sorts of different useful reasons. 1. Airports. If your land is too lumpy for a runway, simply put it in the sea. The Japanese do it all the time. Kansai, Chubu, Nagasaki.
2. Playing geopolitics.
I thought that was a kamikaze joke. Sorry for being that dark. Okay. Also, I think I called that town Velkom, but I think that just means welcome. So, I read the wrong word there.
Do it all the time. Airports. If your land is too lumpy for a runway, simply put it in the sea. The Japanese do it all the time. Kansai, Chubu, Nagasaki.
2. Playing geopolitics. China built islands in the middle of what they now call the South China Sea, so that they're technically able to claim the sea around it.
3. Adding extra space to coastal cities with no other direction to expand. Examples include the Maldives, Singapore, and Hong, to name but 2.5.
And 4.
too, I
Because they can.
Dubai, the city of brute force superlatives, has sprinkled dozens of artificial islands along its coast for luxury resorts and hotels, despite having no shortage of space inland for sensible suburbs.
Land reclamation today is increasing all over the world. Everybody's doing it. Jakarta,
Shanghai,
Manila,
Lagos,
Boston,
Vancouver,
Macau.
Mumbai. So does that mean that land reclamation is the solution to all of society's problems? And will the Netherlands of 2125 look like this?
Well, no. Land reclamation only makes sense.
Hey, I am curious that I'd imagine all of this sea is very shallow. This was it Doggerland? I forget, but this like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago was connected to the UK, right? So this has got to be pretty shallow.
Netherlands of 2125 look like this?
Well, no. Land reclamation only makes sense if the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, and the disadvantages are numerous. It's really expensive, requires huge amounts of sand,
Which the world is running out of.
it needs constant maintenance to stop it sinking, and worst of all, it upsets the fish.
There used to be water over there, and it's all gone, hasn't it? It's
That's
land.
true, yeah, we used to like going there.
The sediment over there was lovely sediment.
Oh, yeah, the sediment.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
That's my favourite bit. I used to say that.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
With the
Justice
well-being of
for
the world more on
Doggerland.
the world's mind than ever, even the Dutch, the original masters of land reclamation, seem to have gone off the idea. The final polder from Cornelis Lely's original plan, Markevard,
I like that name.
was cancelled in 2003, despite the dike already being built, making it a sort of lake within a lake. Today, it's used as a freshwater reservoir and nature reserve. Perhaps the oddest thing about the process of building land in the sea where there wasn't land before is the word we use for it. Reclaimed? It makes it sound like we're taking back from the sea what's rightfully ours.
Yeah, Doggerland, if I'm right with the term Doggerland, which I'm not even right. Justice for Doggerland, if that's the right term.
The truth is a lot more opposite. If no one was there to press the right sluice buttons and maintain the dams, the sea would quickly reclaim what it sees as rightfully its.
Perhaps the best way to prepare for the future is for humans to learn how to live underwater.
Ready to start practicing?
As they say in Dutch, ik ga mijn hoofd in een emmer water steken.
Sick of kitchen grease stains? Overwhelmed by limescale? Then give your kitchen that sparkling new look with This Way Up, When Maps Go Wrong and Why It Matters, the debut book from the creators of Map Men. This book is jam-packed full of fascinating facts and sensational stories that cuts through stubborn stains in seconds. With its rigorously researched and fantastically funny chapters, This Way Up When Maps Go Wrong easily tackles greasy surfaces with so much extra detail that only a book can provide. This Way Up When Maps Go Wrong contains the world's biggest and worst map blunders, leaving your kitchen up to 19% germ-free and smelling exactly as it did before. This Way Up When Maps Go Wrong.
This was a mistake? How could this be a mistake? Oh, God. Imagine how less arid it would be.
contains the world's biggest and worst map blunders, leaving your kitchen up to 19% germ-free and smelling exactly as it did before.
Jay, why haven't you cleaned up all this mess?
Oh, sorry, I got so engrossed in this book, This Way Up When Maps Go Wrong, that I forgot to finish cleaning.
But the Lord Mayor is coming round. Hello?
Ah, hello, chaps. Just calling to say I'm not coming round anymore. I've decided instead to stay home and read this brilliant book called This Way Up When Maps Go Wrong from the creators of Map Men.
Well, thanks for letting us know. Can you do tomorrow instead?
No, I'm busy tomorrow.
Tuesday?
I can't do Tuesday.
How about Wednesday?
I can do Wednesday.
See you on Wednesday then, Lord Mayor.
This Way Up, when maps go wrong and why it matters. Available now.
It's doing a surprisingly good job.
Available now. This Way Up, when maps go wrong and why it matters.
Actually, I guess it wasn't that dirty before, so... Okay.
Available now.
Music. Great video as always from Mapman. Jay and Mark. Yeah. I don't have anything else to say. I feel like I said everything I wanted to. Problems breed invention. War is the best. That was a joke, by the way. I hope you understood that. But it's kind of not a joke. So you can think about that, I guess. Would appreciate any comments down below. Hope everyone's doing well. If not, chin up. You'll be okay soon. Don't worry. And I hope to see you guys next time. We will continue to learn together. Bye, guys. See you next time. Hopefully. Bye.